caught me on the hop there, didn't you? Oh, well, welcome to the Real Talk Show with me, Si. And oh my goodness, it has been a week and a half. Yesterday, it was the first anniversary of my dad's funeral, and I thank the Lord for bringing me and my family through. Now, I also want to remember the Bailey family, whose mother Bailey, her son passed away last year, and I want to remember all of his brothers and sisters that he's left behind, and the rest of his relatives. Remembering Brother Clive McClutty, and remembering sister Cynthia Morrison, remembering, when I'm saying remembering, that these people need, these brethren, need prayer. Remembering Brother Philip Hall. And as it comes to me, I want to give thanks to Sola Williams, who was on last week, who's never done interviewing before, and who done a spectacular job. And I want to thank her for coming and caring for my burns that I had, boiling hot peppermint tea with honey, and that scalded me quite badly, bad wounds. But the Lord is healing them, and I'm giving God thanks for her. For her nursing abilities. Thanking all those that helped me to get myself together tonight. Giving thanks to always to the Lord, for he does all things well. Now, what tambourine should I use, Brother Beres? Oh, I know. I want you to welcome into the show Brother Beres, who I have known since childhood. Welcome him in now, please.
Thank you so much.
Brother Beres Dawkins, our promoter extraordinaire. Oh, let's just say it.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening.
Well,
good evening.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to come onto your program. I was intrigued, so that's why I'm here. As you know, I don't necessarily. I'm absolutely intrigued, because I just think let me clarify. So I've known you for years as a brilliant singer, and fortunate to manage you at one point. And to see you back on the scene, just doing what you do, I'm really pleased. And that's one of the reasons why I accepted to come and be on your show tonight. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? You know, he can be so lovely. You know, he's not this hard-nosed person that people believe him to be. You know, he can be so lovely. And I have seen his lovely side.
People believe me to be hard-nosed? I can't believe that.
Come on, you're a promoter. Come on. The best promoter in this country, I might say. Just put me out
I'll
there.
take that. Yes. I'll take that. I'll take that from you as well.
Oh, okay. Well, it's meant.
Thank you.
It's meant.
Thank you.
Right, sir. I have some questions for you.
Wow, we're going straight into it, are we?
We're going to get. You know what? I've only got 55 minutes. I haven't even got an hour. You know, and you know, I can talk for England, and I get lost, and I might go off on a tangent, and I might have to ask you to come back in, because I have a lot of questions here. Oh gosh, turn it upside down. Yeah, a lot of questions. I've had to make them big because I don't know where my glasses are.
No
Once
problem
again, yes, bless the Lord. Right, so who is Beresford Dawkins? What does he stand for, according to you, Beresford? And I know that you're married with a family, you know. So let us know who Beres is.
Well, once again, sir, I really thank you for inviting me onto your program. I'm really glad to be here. So, to start off, really, I'm born and bred in England. Grew up in Lozells, Handsworth. I was born in 1960, right at the heart of the civil rights movements. didn't really have much sense of that when I was growing up. Lived in my father came here in 1955. Married my beautiful mom in 1959, and I was born in the 60s and had a fantastic childhood growing up with my brother and sister, Beresford Dawkins and Carmen, as you know. So there's three of us in the family.
Yes, I do know.
And growing up in Lozells, most people would have thought, or it's known as quite a poor area. And I didn't experience that growing up. I always went to school, went to good schools, always had 3 meals a day, always clean and tidy, sharp like my dad was. And, you know, we grew up in a real health.
We have to do shout outs. Brother Beres,
Oh, okay.
Can you read that? I think it says Owen.
Is that Owen Uriah? Okay.
Yes,
right,
yes.
okay, yeah. Owen Uriah's in. Oh, wow.
What's he saying?
Yeah. Hi, Owen. Good to. He says, "Hi, guys. Great to see you." That's what he says.
Praise the Lord. Great to know that you're in, Pastor Owen. Great to know that you're here with us. Sorry, Beresford, yeah. I'll be jumping in and saying, read that shout out for me, as we go along.
Okay.
Please.
That's helpful, and that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
So growing up in Lozells, I had a fantastic childhood, had good education, grew up in a Christian family, mum and dad by our sides at all times. And that was the start of a fantastic journey. Most people would know me from Church of God of Prophecy. So I was part of Church of God of Prophecy for some 40 years, would you believe? Again,
40 years.
Yeah, and Church of God of Prophecy has only been around for 60 years. So that tells you in the early days of convention at Westminster Road, Osborne Road in Erdington. And what was really interesting about that, even though we lived in Lozells, we attended church in Erdington. So, most of the congregation was made up from Erdington. And my family, we came from Lozells. So it was really quite, I would say we were the outsiders, even though we didn't feel like it. But in terms of neighborhoods and postcodes, Erdington was Erdington, Lozells and Handsworth was, separate postcode areas. But again, had a fantastic experience in terms of growing up in faith. Loved the Lord. Got baptized when I was 12 years old at a place called Peel Street, which is now Aberdeen
Chapel Street.
Absolutely, Peel Street and Chapel Street. Those were the two biggest churches in the Midlands in terms of Church of God of Prophecy. And District 4 as it was known. And again, had a fantastic time, met some fantastic people. And as young people growing up, we were having a lot of impact in the city of Birmingham, I'm proud to say. So that's long short of it. Went to school at Aston Manor School, had a good education. Most people went to Holt or St. George's, but I went to Aston Manor. And again, enjoyed my schooling, done well at school. And then from Aston Manor School, I went to Sutton College in the 70s. And from there, went on to work at Silver Blades Ice Rink for a short time because I didn't want to go on the dole. And then also, from there, I went on to work for the city council. And so that's a long and short of it, really. So that's the beginning,
Well, that's a lot of information there. I knew most of that. I didn't know about the schools, though. But I did know most of that.
No, because you grew up over sort of Lady Pool Road side, didn't you? And
Lady Pool
Road. Spark Hill,
Spark Hill, then Hall Green. Those sides. So we went to Lady Pool Road. Had a great time. Bless the Lord. So thank you for that. And so what made you know you wanted to make a career out of music? Because I know you got your two careers running alongside each other. and you're still doing,
Sure.
you know, so. But what made you know that you wanted to go into music, make it
Okay,
your
so
career?
just before we go into the music bit, I have to say also I've been married now for 36 years. I've got
Oh,
two,
is it that long?
yeah, yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah, 36 years. Good marriage, good relationship. Married to my best friend. Um, and
Always the
again,
way.
in that whole church of God a prophecy thing, and I think this is where people misunderstand the impact of what it means to be church or places of worship. That's where I met my wife of all these years. And my wife's from London. So as most people would know, we used to have conventions and big conventions. So we used to go down to Brighton,
Yeah.
and Brighton is like what people don't understand. We used to have up to 5,000 people converge on Brighton Conference Hall.
Didn't they just though?
5,000. Sorry?
What? They just
Say that
squeezed
again,
up in
sorry?
that place. They squeezed up in
Yeah,
that place.
that's right. And 5,000 people at Brighton Conference Centre was in the late 80s, 90s was an amazing feat. And I was glad to be part of around that generation of young people as well. So that's where I met my wife initially. And like I said, we're married now, 36 years in. I've got two children and two daughters who are both married. One's been married for 10 years and one's been married for 7 years. And I
Is that
have
10 years
three,
already? Wow,
yeah,
crikey.
10 years for the eldest one, Michelle. And Michaela is
Because
now in the seventh
Michelle
year.
got married at St. Paul's Cathedral, isn't that right? St. Paul's
That's
Cathedral in
correct. Yes,
yes.
in the
Only
city
you could
centre.
pull that off. What you like? Ah, give you some kudos for that. Let me just get like the green. Only you could pull that
Wow.
off. You know, bless the
Well,
Lord.
well. Interestingly enough, so Michaela got married at St. Martin's Church in the Bullring.
Oh wow! The
So
two
Michelle got
Eastern
married at St. Paul's.
churches. Wow.
Yeah, and let me tell you what the thinking was behind that. There's something about, when I talked about dad being here for 55, since 1955, they paid taxes and they've paid insurance and they've paid, to purchase and develop those buildings. And we as a community often think those buildings are not for us. And because
Yes.
I worked in the city, I got to understand how the city works. And
All
when
right.
my girls were getting married, I just said, they said they wanted to do something different. And because
Yes.
they were good girls in terms of how they grew, um, you know, I gave them the best of what I thought was the best. And there was no reason why they couldn't get married in those buildings in the city centre because they're there for all of us to
Yes.
use and to share.
Oh
And
yes.
it was also sending out messages to our community that actually the city is ours. Our parents came here and they worked hard. And that's why Birmingham looks the way it looks. It's because our generation was invited here to work here. And that's why Birmingham
Yes.
looks the way it does in the city centre. So yeah, so
Oh,
that's the thing. So the music side, I don't know if people would remember the Clarks, brother
I think
Clark,
you
sister
forgot to
Clark.
say your lovely wife's name. Your wife is absolutely beautiful. I have never seen her without the most perfect hair. Her hair is just absolute. I mean, absolutely perfect hair. It's beautiful, rich, velvety, glossy, glowy, silky, flowing, beautiful hair. And
Well,
would you like to say her name? Because you said your two daughters' name.
yeah, of course. I'm married to MF, Estella
Yes.
Dawkins. Yeah.
Hi, MF.
And again, from London originally. So shout out to MF. I'm sure you'll be watching this a bit later on. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for interrupting. Now can you please continue?
No problem at all. So we talked about the music. So I started playing guitar about the age of 12. And I learned to
Oh,
play the guitar from a young guy in the church. His name was Dolphus Clark, Caleb Clark, and Harvey, who also used to play the bass. So Dolphus used to play rhythm guitar, and Harvey used to play the bass guitar. And I was slightly younger than them. And I really observed how they used to play music and their instruments in church. Their dad was a fantastic musician and a great
yeah.
singer. And I just really saw that, and I think, you know what, I want to play the guitar. And
Oh,
he was quite generous. He taught me my first couple of chords, and we used to spend a lot of time at his house together. So I wanted to play the guitar, and my brother, who plays bass as well, he
yeah.
wanted to be like Harvey. So then we became a bit of a unit, and we learned to play guitar and really enjoyed it. And that's how the music career started, really, if you want to call it a career. I just love playing.
Mm.
I'm a dedicated musician. I'm not as technically gifted as some of the guys that I've promoted over the years, but that's the thing about playing the guitar. Actually, you bring your own style, you bring your own feel to what you do, and I'm competent in it. So I love playing. I still play, but I love promoting as well, and that's how I got into promoting game. And what you have to understand when you're growing up and you're a musician probably first, and you're into music and arts. At the time, growing up in the church, pulpit ministry was more popular. So if you were going to be a preacher,
Tell me about it.
yeah, if you were going to be a preacher, if you were going to be an evangelist, if you're going to be a deacon on that side of the theology side and the evangelistic side, then there's a lot of investment that would go into you, and people would receive it. But if you were a musician or a singer, it was more challenging, let's say that.
Oh,
And
okay.
I grew up around a lot of talented people, gifted people. And as
Yes.
I got older, I just thought there isn't a platform for people to share their ministry, because I saw it as ministry, and the
Mm-hmm.
church wasn't clear on that in the 70s and in the 80s. We were just musicians who made a lot of noise, and we would turn down the bass, turn down the drum. We're not making noise on my head. It was that kind of feeling. And our
Brother Berries, were you one of those that used to turn up your amp as high as you could? Huh? And
well, I
blast
don't know
out the
if I was
old
turning up as high as I could.
Okay.
We were just really engaging in our music, and if you're going to play, try and play well. I don't think it was
Yeah,
loud
yeah.
at the time. I think it was a generational thing. There was young people and there was senior people, and the senior people had a view about what level they wanted their music, and us
Telling me.
and us as younger folk, we had a view about how we wanted the music to sound. So there was
Yeah.
that conflict, and with that, wrestling with that, still trying to be respectful to our seniors and our elders, which I think for the most part we were. I decided that I really wanted to try and showcase some of the talent that was around me. And fast forward 1992,
No,
I met
no, we're
with a
not
couple.
fast forward in 1992. What are you talking
um,
about? We're
okay,
going to
okay.
talk about programs and conventions. We talked about a couple of conventions a bit, but programs, rallies, crusades. I remember coming down to Church of God of Prophecy in Nechells. I always enjoyed when the programs were at Nechells, the way it was situated. We could go around the back and we could have something to eat, get you cocoa, your
That's
bun,
true.
and
That's true.
cheese and your ginger beer and all that stuff. And I loved all that stuff. But I remember sitting down. You either sitting down and standing up with the guitar in hand, and it was always, you were very, very cool. You wasn't this one of these rock steady moving guys all over the place. You just stood there, flat foot, and just playing that guitar. And I remember you was a part of the music crew of Nietzsche's, obviously, and then there was a band with the Forbeses boys and some others. I think there was 5 altogether. Can you remember what the name of the group?
I'll try. I'll try and. I'll yeah. I'll try and. It'll come back to me in a minute. I can remember the guys. I think you're talking about Enos. You're talking
Enos.
about Roy Sherman, Pixley
Yes,
Davis,
yes.
and I think there was one other. I can't remember the other, or there was 2 others.
Sylvester Forbes.
Sylvester was in there as well. Yeah.
I don't think Neville was old enough then.
No, he
Neville
wasn't. He
Forbes,
wasn't.
no. I don't know if Bunny was in it, but I definitely Sylvester Forbes. I remember Enos. Oh, we've got a shout out Beresford. Can you read out
Yeah.
that for me?
That's
Name and
Debbie Godfrey, Hi, Debbie. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank
Debbie
you.
Godfrey.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Yes. So I remember one particular program when I came, and young people always like to sit up on the top. You know, we never wanted to sit down where the old people were. And the group came on, and you put down a piece of music. It was like the floats, float on, float on, float on, and they did a dance routine.
Yeah,
What?
they were like the stylistics. It was like the stylistics, man, and the floaters. That's and the Commodores. So that's what I'm saying.
Oh
So we
my
were trying to
goodness!
me and my brother, we were trying to, you know, what people don't realize when you're in your bedroom at home and you're listening to music, Jim Reeves wasn't quite cutting it, and we were forced to listen to Jim Reeves. And mum was probably listening to this, and it's true, we were listening to Jim Reeves. But me and my brother, we were listening to Chic, we were listening to Earth, Wind and Fire, we were
Yes.
listening to
Remember Earth,
the
Wind and Fire,
Floaters.
later, folks? Yes, the
Yeah,
Lotus.
yeah, absolutely. And so that's and the Drifters and the
Oh
Floaters you
my
just
goodness.
mentioned. So, that's the kind of music we were listening to, and that's what we were trying to play in our bedroom. We would mimic those guys and just play along with them. And they had great rhythm, funky beats. So when we were in church, and the guys came with a certain style, we adapted certain things and
Like,
just changed it up a little bit. So that's what it was.
oh my
And we
gosh,
and
you
we and
went
we
down the
wanted
line.
church to be fun. We wanted church and our faith to replicate that. So when
Yeah.
we would invite our friends over to church. And at that time, I was inviting a lot of my school friends. I didn't want to. I wanted my faith to represent it how I feel.
No.
So I wasn't ashamed of really saying, actually, this is the God I serve, and this is the music that is there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, that would be often in conflict with church, but it was okay. It was okay. I see that
Oh,
Wayne
so
Brown's just joined us as well.
oh, hi there, Wayne, brother,
Brother,
brother Wayne Brown. Bless the Lord. What
good
does
to
he
see
say?
you. He just says,
Oh,
yes,
good to
Barry, it's good to see you.
yes, praise the Lord. Thank you, brother Wayne Brown. Oh, I had I
Oh,
guess I
wow.
was. Oh, we got another one.
Got
Dave,
Dave Paul,
I can see him.
original
It
from
says
Birmingham.
Dave. He is original from Birmingham. What does he say, please?
He just says, wow, there's someone I haven't seen for years. Big up from Dave P.
Oh, not beautiful. Thank you, Dave. Yeah,
Thanks,
Dave is
Dave. Thanks for joining in, man. Keep up the good
yeah,
work you're doing in London there.
yeah, fantastic work. He put on my single as the single of the week. It hadn't been released yet. He's a great guy.
Yeah, Dave's doing
Yeah,
some great
so
things.
you were inviting your friends from school to come to church, to come to
Yeah,
programs, because programs were a lot more exciting than church, because you had other churches from all over the District 4 area are coming together. And I don't know if you remember how they used to, as you got up to go and sing, they would go, £5 no singing, and then £10 singing, £5 no singing, and you could be standing up there for like 10-20 minutes while they're going backwards and forth. But this raised money, raised money for the
yeah. Well,
church.
it was
Say,
it was quite an innovative way to raise funds for the church, wasn't it?
yeah,
You'd get up to sing, and if it was a choir or a group, and they started to pick you off one by one, it could be. And if you remember those choirs back in the day, they used to a minimum of what, 20 people in the choir,
yes,
and somebody would say, £5 not to hear Sister Sai sing. And then before you know it, they've probably raised £100
yeah,
before
yeah,
any singing. And then somebody would come back and say, put her back. And before you know it, there's £200 raised for one song. And that's how we used to do it. And that was
yeah,
long before people used to pay for tickets
yeah.
to
That
come
was
to an
before
event. So that was
there was
about,
no paying on the
yeah, it
door
was a
business days.
very innovative way of raising funds. Programs as it was. And that's got Dave P in stitches. I'm sure he remembers that.
But But it's true. That's what we grew up on, you know. Oh, there's
Yeah.
somebody else. I don't know who. Can you
Oh,
see what they're
it's
saying?
it looks like Juliet Fletcher. Hi,
Is
Juliet.
it? Oh my goodness. Hello,
Yeah.
my dear. I hope you're okay. Hope your mom's doing well. Bless you. What does she say?
She just says, hello, Si Beresford, two British gospel legends. Wow.
Legends. Coming
That's
from
praise indeed.
Juliet Fletcher. I mean, wow. Wow.
Listen, let a quick story about Juliet Fletcher then. So
Yes,
Juliet
yes.
Fletcher came Juliet Fletcher came to Birmingham, and I was in a band called Shiloh Band. So that was me, Trevor Prince, Glenn Prince.
Yeah.
It was Glenn at the time, and also Lesbian Easy. And we used to
Oh,
play
yes.
for
Mm-hmm.
we used to play for Juliet Fletcher. She used to come to Birmingham and sing, and we used to play for her. So again, that's
Oh,
how long ago that was. Juliet is known as a singer. She's a real sort of traditional, sort of old time gospel singer, and she used to come to
oh my.
Birmingham. We used to play for her all the time. Yeah,
You know, I didn't know that Juliet could sing. And my eyes
yeah,
nearly popped out my head when she put on an event. I think it was a 25 year or something like that, 20-year gospel
yeah.
event. And I went and I heard her sing. Well, I never knew that Juliet could sing, you know, and I mean, not just, you know, sing, but sing, you know.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it, you
And
know.
let me tell you that she also done some promotion work as well. And I think she was probably one of the first people to bring Andre Crouch to this country, way back in the day.
Is
Yeah,
that
so she's
so?
yeah, so yeah, there you go. We know we can talk because you walk the walk. Thank you very much, Julia.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah,
I know that I'm going to have to invite Brother Bruce back on the show because we're not going to get through all the questions, you know. But thank you so much. Um, oh yes, Dave is saying something. What's he
he's
saying, brother?
agreeing. He's saying that's
Oh,
right. She's indeed. Yeah,
oh yes, yes.
she's a singer
Juliet
and
is
and also
magnificent. Yeah, magnificent. Bless her. Right. So my next question. Oh, you mentioned that you was working up by the Silver Blades. Can you
okay.
skate?
Yeah, at the time, yeah, I could probably still skate now, but yeah, at the time I used to skate. Yeah, yeah, all day
Oh,
long. So I had three different jobs there. So I used to work in skate hire,
okay.
and I also used to do. You remember the red coats? I used to do some of the red coat stuff. So the red coats were the guys that would skate around the ice, making sure that people were safe and well. If someone fell
Yes.
over, we would pick them up, and we would make sure there's no trouble on the ice. And then from there, I became a door supervisor. That's a
Now
glorified term. That's a glorified term for a bouncer. So
you can do, and I know you can do that bouncer very well. You just have to stop smiling, so we don't see your beautiful teeth, and just put that stern face on. I don't think anybody's gonna try and push back you
well,
with the black leather
I'm, su-
jacket.
I'm sure we I'm sure we can talk about that as well if you want to. I'm happy
Oh
to talk about
my
anything at
goodness.
all, to be honest. I'm happy to
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
that.
Yes, because you know it's called the Real Talk Show, and it's REE because I like to real like you know fishing rod, real out the information about people that you know others don't know about.
Hmm.
I see. You know, I was going to ask you about this later, but you have got a red hoodie on that says three something. I can't
Yeah,
see the red, but
well, it's 316,
yes.
and
Okay.
underneath that, it's got love, life, and hope as a strap line. So for those of you who are keen Bible scholars, as I say, 316 comes from the famous scripture in the Bible, John
Mm-hmm.
3:16.
Yeah.
And I've since started a company called 316 The Well, so that people remember the well. We haven't even got to that part of it yet, but I'm now
No,
currently
I've jumped out of sync. Yeah.
uh, a CIC, a CIC company.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
community interest company for showcasing live gospel music. So since August last year in the pandemic, whilst we were all in lockdown, it just felt right. as we were all reflecting on what worship and what church is and what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing, I just felt it was time to revive the 316 again. So I did, and called some of my friends and colleagues, musicians, singers, and we managed to do some amazing things together. So yeah, there we are. So 316 is now up and running as a company, and we live stream. It's a monthly live stream. Next one on 30th of May. Just go on the website 316 or go on to any YouTube on our YouTube channel, and you'll see some of the shows that we've been showcasing since August of last year.
So on the YouTube, they just need to put
316 Gospel UK.
Oh, 316 Gospel UK, and it'll bring it all up. There you go.
Bring it all up. The website and also the YouTubes and Facebook as well.
Right. Well, you went out a bit for a moment. So what's the website?
All right.
Address?
Sorry. So the website address is 316 Gospel UK.
Oh, that's the website. Oh, okay.
Yeah. www.316 Gospel UK.
Okay, brilliant. We have to get that in because we need to get people to know how to get a hold of you. Oh, bless the Lord. Right, so my next question for you, sir, is... I've gone a bit farther down here. I don't know, I've lost myself. Oh, yes, you went to university. Did you touch on that already?
Yeah, I went to Sutton College and studied, yeah.
Yes, we touched on that.
In fact, yeah.
Right, so I know you work for the council, but did you do work anywhere else? I know you've talked about them at the Silver Blades, but throughout your career, apart from the music and the council.
Okay, so just very quickly then. So from Silver Blades, as a young 21-year-old, I managed to get a job in Birmingham Children's Homes. So I was managing and running some of Birmingham Children's Homes for 19 years. So some of the most difficult and challenging young people in the city. By definition of where I used to work. So the homes that I ran, there was two of them specifically, Ibstones Avenue and Reservoir Road Community Home. They were designed as the last stop before custody. So the young people who we looked after were challenging, complex, vulnerable individuals. And because of the nature of some of the offences that they committed, if we couldn't help them and if we couldn't support them, the next stop for them would be a custodial sentence. So I worked in that field and thoroughly enjoyed it with a great team of people from all walks of life for some 19 years, and did that very well, enjoyed it. And that's where I learned to understand what it means to have a ministry that was outside of church. So whilst I was in church doing my music and loved my music, I was having a lot of impact working with some of the most challenging young people in the city. And I've done that for 19 years. And then from there, I went into training, and then I managed to train at least 26 children's homes, how to handle difficult young people. Because in my field, people were saying I was classed as one of the experts, and I knew how to manage difficult people, difficult young people. So that's where that level of assertion comes from, going back. And I think,
oh, you call it level of assertion, do you?
Yeah, I do, because I think people, you can be misunderstood, and I think you laugh at that, and that's true. So I was into sport, and that was the tool I used to engage young people. Young people love sport. I was into fitness. But I got myself qualified as a social worker as well. So, each thing, there's no, we're all different, and we're very complex individuals. So people would see me as one thing, but they don't really know the backstory. And that's why I think I've come onto this program, because, people have a view, people make perceptions about who you are and what they think you are. But, we're very complex individuals, and people should start to appreciate that. I think it's long overdue that understand how God made us. We're very unique individuals with our own personalities, and I managed to use that to engage with some what most people call challenging. I felt quite comfortable around them, to be honest, and still do. So I moved very quickly into the criminal justice side of things from the children's homes, and worked about 15 years on the reducing gang violence agenda. So as we know, violence is still prolific in our cities, London and Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, and Scotland as well, to
Oh,
be frank.
okay,
And I've done
wow.
some work all around that. So the reducing gang violence is where I started to really understand the complexity of um, the human mind and how people make choices,
Mm,
and how people um, make the decisions that they make. So that led me into mental health. So I'm now working in the mental health area, and that's where I am now. So that's a quick
okay.
whistle stop
Oh my
to where I
goodness.
am. Yeah.
Oh, there's a shout out. Don't
Yeah,
know.
it's Juliet Fletcher again. She's saying, "Old time songs, you're great. Thank you for your memories and kind words." That's
Oh,
Juliet.
bless her.
That's Juliet. Oh, D Shy is on as well. Greetings, Sai, and greetings, Brother Beres. Hello,
Oh,
D Shy.
greetings, D Shy. Greetings to you. And she's got a single coming out soon, so I might have to have her to plug that. And
Well, tonight I'm just
oh,
following your lead. I'm just following your lead.
I watched her on your 316 program. You've had her on two or three times, I think now.
Yeah, twice, twice.
Is it twice? Twice, yeah. Yeah, she did really well. Well, you know what? That's one of my good friends there.
Good,
Um,
good, good friends.
yes, yes, good friends. And right, so
We got
right,
we got Brother Wayne. Wayne Brown's back on again,
oh,
and he's saying 316 is great. Highly recommended. Thanks, Wayne.
yes. Oh, we got another one. Is that the same one?
It's Juliet Fletcher says, when you receive the vision, you don't play games.
No, no, no. You can't play games with the vision that the Lord gives you. You're joking. I'm of this mind. God gives you a vision, and you get on and do it. If you don't get on and do it, it can be like two ways. It can be like Jonah, where he sends a fish for you, because you are going to do that job that he's told you to do. Or you can be like Saul, where he's taken off you and given to another, and we don't want that to happen. So yeah, thank you very much for that, Juliet. Thank you very much. Yeah, she's saying something different there. Looks like another one there.
Yeah, she's saying 316 is a fantastic platform. Thanks, Julia.
Bless the Lord, bless the
I think
Lord.
I think also though, just because you mentioned Jonah,
Yeah.
people always talk about the story of the fish, right? And why he got thrown into the fish. But maybe Jonah didn't have the capacity at the time to do what God called him to do. So what we've got to understand, sometimes we do get a vision, and the vision is often bigger than who we are. And I think certainly for me, as a young guitarist growing up in the church, in my mind, promotion was never on the agenda. It just wasn't.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely not. It was just frustration, seeing other musicians who were great. I thought they were great, but there wasn't a platform for them. And so that's how my vision was birthed, really. And I didn't have the capacity. That's, to me, looking back, I just ran with what I hoped was gonna be something unique, something that was going to be a ministry, and something that would impact people. What that is now is we're utilizing music in a way that clearly galvanizes our community through my ministry. And
Yeah.
that's not how it started. But like Juliet has mentioned, it's about actually, once the vision is there, once the desire is there, it develops and grows into something else. Wow. Um, Augustus Stewart. Wow. Welcome,
Oh my
Augustus. He says, Beresford,
goodness.
was
Oh,
you there when Sharon and Yusuf was at Ipstones Avenue? Absolutely 100% I was there. I was the deputy manager at Ipstones Avenue. That's where I cut my teeth. I started working at Ipstones Avenue in 1981. So that's
1981.
that's
Wow.
where my career started,
That's 40,
1981.
40 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
40
I was
years
a
ago.
young 21-year-old,
Oh my gosh.
and there
And you're telling
wasn't
your age
very
now.
many. Yeah, I'm happy to share my age anytime.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. So, should we going to go on to our next question, shall we? Shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
Oh, you can read out the
Hi,
next
Ruth.
shout out before I find the question.
Ruth Robinson. Hi, Ruth. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hi, Ruth. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your shout out. Right. Okay. My next question to you, Brother Barris, is what got you into artist management, and which artists did you manage apart from moi?
All right. So we've talked briefly about the promotion, and
Yeah.
let's say I'm going to say it myself. I fell in love with gospel promotion,
Mm-hmm.
and again, love doing it. Invested a lot of time, invested a lot of effort. I started rubbing shoulders with big promoters in London to learn the craft because what you got to understand, nobody in church was doing promotions. We were doing programs. That's what we were doing. But
Yeah.
how do you get audiences to come into a space like that, or library theatre, the Birmingham Conservatoire, the Rec Centre, Hope School? How do you get audiences who are not church to come into those spaces? So I learned
Yes.
the trade, and it's well established. And then what started to happen, I started to see artists that I thought, wow, no, these are a little bit special. And I always say there's a Whitney Houston in every church, right? It's just
Oh,
that the
okay.
church, again, doesn't appreciate that. You got to understand, Whitney was a young girl
Understand.
singing in church, just like
That's
yourself,
a big
just
statement there,
singing.
Brother Barris.
But,
That's a big
but
statement.
yeah, but it's contextual, and that's the thing. There's loads of young girls like yourself singing in church. The difference with Whitney was somebody saw her and said, you know what, we think you are a brilliant artist, you're a standout artist. And what people don't understand about artist management, it's not just one person who says, Si, I think you're going to be brilliant, right? And we'll talk about me managing you in a while. But the group that you're referring to is a group called New Life. Four
Yes.
girls, young
Yeah.
girls, and they were 18-year-olds at the time. And in my promotion, I managed to promote them at one of my events. And of course, at that time, you got to understand, there was Destiny's Child, there were All Saints, there were Sugar Babes. So
Oh,
in
yes.
context, to me, they reminded me of a young Destiny's Child, Sugar
Mm-hmm.
Babes, and so on. And then I was approached by a record company who said, "Look, we think you would be a really great manager for these girls." I'm thinking, "What are you talking about, guys? I am a promoter. That's what I do." And say, "Look, we're a record company. We want to work with you to manage these girls because we think we can do something."
Wow, wonderful.
So it wasn't necessarily about the girls seeking me out and saying, look, we want you to be our manager. It was about the record company understanding what I was doing as a promoter. We
Yeah.
came together and said, you're a record company. What we're going to do is work really hard to give these girls an image. And when you talk about gospel groups having image, you got to understand that that's a no-no in the church. What do you mean Christian singers a certain way, dress in a certain way, carrying themselves or sounding a certain way? So
Well,
you know
I'm the
we're
last
moving
person
we're,
to
mo-
that
we're
too.
exactly, so we're moving left of center of everything that the church believed that they stood for. Um,
Yes.
but what we were doing, we were making gospel music accessible. We were evangelizing in a way that the church was new to the church. It was the innovation around it. And out of that came New Life. Four girls who went into three. They are one of the only female groups in this country. And
Okay, Berries. Can you just repeat that
yeah, yeah.
sentence because it just went out with some interference? What did you just say?
Okay, yes. So I'm saying there's still New Life is still one of the only female groups to have won a Mobile Award. in this country.
Beautiful,
So,
wonderful, wonderful.
and so the legacy is
And
there,
you know what? That
regardless of
deserves
what we might think of
a
it.
hand clap. That deserves a hand clap. Yes, it does. It does, because as you said, they're the only ones. We've got to recognise and keep people kudos and honour them for when they do great things. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So that's how I got into artist management, and I managed that group for about 10 years.
Oh, was it that
And it
long?
was
Okay.
yeah, easily 10 years, and probably 11 years, more like 11 years. And again, we did tours. We went all over the country. They had a fantastic album,
Yeah, yeah.
and still a great album. And we're thinking about doing some things with that as well, with the
Oh,
record company. So yeah, it's
you're letting
interesting.
out
And then
secrets, sir. You're letting out
no,
secrets.
these are not secrets, man. These are not secrets. These are just, it's ambition, it's vision, it's drive, and that's all. And you know what COVID has helped some of us to realize, that actually we need to reflect on what we're doing, and we need to understand our place in the community, and we need to start dreaming again. We need to start reimagining again, and really start to demonstrate how our faith looks in a time of a pandemic. So that's what's happening.
Right, so there's another shout out there, Brother
Yeah,
Bear.
this is Juliet Fletcher. She's saying, and look how you, through that step, you brought sight to us, and Juliet's right. So the story behind that is, I mean, you could probably tell the story better than me, Si. So
No,
I think
this is not an interview with me. This is an interview with you, Brother Bears. Come on now.
so. Over the years, for some reason, I think you approached me. Let's say that. About where you wanted to take your career. I think you had done some amazing things, in your mainstream life, and some great things. I think once you came to Christ, you wanted to stay on that trajectory. You approached me. I wasn't sure that I was the right guy to do the job, and you insisted, through your faith, that I was the man for the job. And it's fair to say, I think we went through 3 years of artist management.
Longer than 3 years,
Was it longer than
Yeah,
3 years? All right.
it was longer than
Okay.
3 years.
And we went on tours all over the place. And I still remember when I spoke to a promoter about promoting you, who was doing the Earth, Wind and Fire tour. Now, what people
Oh.
need to understand about tours, right, is normally when a promoter or a manager approaches somebody to go on tour, you normally have to pay to go onto the tour, right? That is normal practice.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
I'm saying I approached the promoter and I said, look, we've got a great gospel artist here. First of all, we're going to sing gospel. We sent the music off, and we sent your images off. And at that time, in terms of your styling, and you were an individual in your own right, and you could sit on any stage. And I
Thank
would
you,
say
Mommy
that,
and Daddy. Thank you, Mommy and Daddy.
in terms of how you saw yourself,
Hmm.
and you wasn't afraid of that, even though you would have had some backlash in terms of how you would have looked and how you presented. But it was clear to me was unique to you. And of course, we knew that we could do a lot with that, as long as we had the right kind of support, to support you. Long story short, we done the Earth, Wind and Fire tour. You got paid for that, and got paid well, I thought. And that will always stay with me in terms of some of the things that we did together. We done loads of other things. We
No. I'm taking out the Red Bull for the blood. Thank you for the blood, Lord. Because the Lord covered
all
us.
right.
Went to some places. And thank you for that. We went to some places, which you even said to me that you never thought you would ever go to.
Yeah, and I was just coming to that. I was just coming to that because, what people don't understand, when you decide that you're going to do music in nightclubs that certainly I would never have gone into if I wasn't managing you, and that's a fact. And
That
and
sounds
you know some of those stories. No,
yeah,
no,
I've
it
never gone
doesn't
into
sound
them.
no. No, I wouldn't, but that's the point. And then so, but what I learned was how powerful music ministry can be. And
Absolutely.
when we went into a particular club in Her Street, in the city centre of Birmingham, and when I tell you that club was packed, it was probably, I don't know, 600 people, shoulder to shoulder. I remember we had to really wheel our way through them. And when you got on that stage and you started singing and ministering to people, um, that was the first experience for me. I never had that experience before, but we managed to do the deal. We went there and you started ministering to those people, and people came into your dressing room afterwards. And we ended up praying for people who were
Oh,
crying because they
oh,
connected with your ministry. It's a real thing. So
you
those are
know,
some of the
that
stories.
memory for
Those are
me
some
is
of the
just
stories.
one. Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
those are
You
some of
know,
the stories that people never get to hear about. And just going back to the new life thing as well. So again, it's about understanding who you are in terms of your ministry. And you know, the girls supported people like Neo, Angie Stone, Kirk
yes,
Franklin, and people were criticizing us for that. But again, you look at the state of the world at the moment, and if you look at how powerful music is, I'm a strong believer that music, and if we do it right, will galvanize our community. Our community is in a real vulnerable state at the moment, and I believe music, gospel music in particular, music that speaks into this time, understand the time that we're going through.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
we're now questioning how are we going to do church in the pandemic, in this post-pandemic era, and
Mm.
after the pandemic, and during the pandemic. What does church look like? Please understand, folks, it's never going to be the same again. We're not going back
No,
to normal. We're not
how
going
can
back
it
to
be?
normal.
How can it be? No,
So,
no,
so
not going back.
therefore, this is why I encourage people to dream. Use this time as a time of reflection. Let the Lord speak to you, and whatever ministry you have, please make it happen. Make it happen.
Bless the Lord.
Oh,
As you just read, brother, no, it's Pastor Owen, isn't it? You know, I'll
yeah,
just give
brother,
a,
Pastor.
have to give a little shake of my tambourine for what you just said. You know, my mum used to say, if you haven't got something good to say about Smaddy, you know, keep your mouth shut. You know, that was it. Not shut, you know, shut. Keep your mouth shut.
Wow,
You know,
she was
and
vexed then.
don't yeah, because oh come on now, Beresford. You know my mum and dad. My mum used to wear same saris to go to convention. People are always talking
Absolutely.
about my parents, you know, and we was dressing up in all kinds of high heel shoes and ting, you know. So it wasn't that I dressed to impress, not at all. This was everyday stuff for me. Seeing what what
Mhm.
the parents I grew up with, um, and I thank you. I have to thank you for allowing me to be me. You know, because some people would have tried to change me into somebody else, but you didn't try to do that. And I remember you said to me one time, you're the only person I know that could wear the things that you wear and sing how you sing with the high heel booties and get away with it in gospel, you know. And I used to think, oh, really? You know, I thought people were what they wanted to. So, you know, yeah. I thank you for Earth, Wind and Fire. That was a great experience because I think
It
we
was
did
5,000 people a night.
oh
Understand
my
that?
goodness, you
5,000
know,
people each night.
and singing only gospel because remember that was my stipulation to you, Brother Barris. I'm not singing any rags. I'm not singing any pop songs. God said to me, only sing his music. So, you know, when I said to you, right, okay, I'm only singing gospel. You said you can sing your gospel, you can sing your own songs. I said, really? And I went out there on that stage at the Birmingham, I think it was it NIA, I think it was. And
Yeah,
then we did, I think it was Manchester
Manchester. Yeah,
and London Apollo, Hammersmith Apollo, was it?
yeah,
Yeah, Hammersmith Apollo. And I remember
yeah,
going around and building and praying. And I remember on the last night, Philip Bailey, that was the lead singer, wasn't it? The high pitched voice.
yeah.
He was
That's
said
right.
to the people, on the last night. You know, may God bless you. May God. He did the priestly blessing over the audience. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I sung 30 minutes of just gospel, no pop songs, and the people were up on their feet and everything. We'd never seen anything like it. It was amazing, and all the musicians from Birmingham and around the area came. I remember Trevor Prince coming up to me and saying, "How did you get this gig with Earth, Wind and Fire?" I said, "Mary's got it," you know. And I think he went up in their esteem, saying, "You know, Barry's got you this," you know, because Earth, Wind and Fire was the band, you know, to
Well, listen, what I know what you haven't said about that gig. What was really funny about that gig, and by the way, I've just seen Orin Uriah. Thank you, Orin, brother Keith. Thank you for your
thank
shout
you.
out. Bless you, my friend, and thank you. And again, he's just pointed out that we promoted his first album at the Drum. I remember that
Oh,
night. I think Annette was on that
bless
gig
the
as well.
Lord.
Yeah, so there was Annette, there was Annette, Lighty, and Owen
All
Uriah.
right.
That was the first reggae gig. And there's also Jamin Hutchison. Good to see you as well.
Okay.
Jamin Hutchison.
Oh,
Yeah,
bless the Lord.
so yeah, I think what we didn't say is about that. What is really interesting is when we went to the Birmingham gig, all the church musicians were there as well. So
Every
everybody
single
would
one.
know, yeah, they were all there because Earth, Wind and Fire was such a massive influence on us. So, I was glad to be promoting it because I was backstage with all the guys and we got to meet them. But it was the
Yes.
music, yeah, and to have you as my artist supporting them, Earth, Wind and Fire and Psy on the same bill. Oh, come on, what
Oh
more
my
could you want?
goodness. I spun around like a gig in my outfit, so I tell you, on that stage, and gave God glory. And I even had to pray for a young lady from Wales. She came up to me as I come off the stage, and I had to pray for her. You know, God
It was
will send
amazing,
people up to
amazing
you.
time.
You never know. Brother Berry, I love you to bits. Oh, glory, glory, glory. But we have sunshine. We've got to come to the end of tonight's show, I'm afraid. Didn't that go fast?
Absolutely fast. And you have to tell me what the tambourines are for, because you've got a red one, you've got a green one, a blue one.
This is sunshine, and
What's
it's
going
my
on there?
favorite color. My favorite
Okay,
color.
okay, okay.
And then we got red for the blood, green is for newness, black because we know that every good thing came from black. Hey, praise the Lord. Adam as well. And white is for purity. And then I've got a glitter one, if you know I love my glitter, and that's just my signature, love it, like it, or hate it. That's just me. But Brother Berry, so I've got to wind down. But we're gonna wind up again in the future because I haven't even asked half of my questions. You are a man of great standing in the gospel music fraternity. And I want to give you much thanks for coming on the show. You have helped so many people, promoted so many people, put people out into the atmosphere so that others could view them. The well was great. We need to talk a little bit more about the well. That was great. We've lost some musicians, Trevor Prince, Paul Reed, recently, which is a shame. And I'm going to see my promoters then. I'm going to wind down. So I'm going to say thank you. Love you to bits. Thank you for everything that you've done for the community, the church, and we have got to go. So, Brother Berry, you have been signed, sealed, and delivered. God bless you. You've been
And
reeled
thank
in.
you. Once again, thank you for having me. God bless you all.